guys, it's Glenn from Glenn'sCarCollection.com, and we're going to do my one-year review today of my M340i XDrive. Can you believe it? It's been a year already. So I leased this car about a year ago, June 1st, 2020, in the middle of the pandemic. I believe the factories were still closed, so finding a 340 on the lot, M340i XDrive, was pretty hard. So where I live in New Jersey, northern New Jersey, pretty much every car I found on the lot came with all-wheel drive and all-season run flat tires. Now, I just wanted a daily driver where I could pay one payment, a lease payment. One of the reasons I chose BMW in the first place, this is my 8th BMW. I've owned 7 M cars before this, so this is my first non-M or M Sport, as you will. Real quick, I had an E36, 2 E46 M3s, an E90 M3, an M2 Z3M Coupe, a 1 Series M, and maybe, did I say E90 M3? So a bunch of them. So I was looking for a daily driver. The last couple times I kind of strayed from BMW, had the Audi S8, if you know, follow the channel. When the channel started, I had the GLA 45. Before that, I had a CLA 45. So I kind of felt, as daily drivers go, BMW kind of lost its way. So I was picking AMGs and Audi S cars instead of BMW, where in the past I always chose BMW. Then I did, BMW Tenafly lent me, and that's where I wound up buying this car, an M340i XDrive, to do a video, and I fell in love with that car. It wasn't as good as, say, a real M3 or M4, but it was a fantastic car that I could see myself driving every day. They first came out, I don't think the lease was that good. June 1st last year, the lease was fantastic because of COVID. There were all kinds of incentives, and I got this car for $595 a month with a total of $5,000 out of pocket, 36 months lease, 12,000 miles per year. I'm way under the mileage because of COVID. Usually I put 15,000 on each of my daily drivers, so I'm usually really putting 30,000 miles a year driving to work and doing showings for my real estate business, commercial real estate business, maybe another 10,000 miles pleasure driving. On the weekends, you see all my point of view videos, and then usually after that, maybe 10,000 miles in YouTube cars that dealerships give me, or press cars. So I'm probably driving in a non-COVID year about 50,000 miles a year. But so why did I choose this? Well, I thought this was the first BMW in a long time that was worthy of being a daily driver car. It has great handling, it's fast. You know, when you think about it, pretty much everybody on the road is driving an SUV. So you don't necessarily, this has 380 horsepower. You don't need 500 horsepower because daily driving, commuting, A, you're in traffic, and B, none of those other cars have 380 horsepower anyway, so you can easily pass anybody on the highway. Still hard to get around those slow people in the left lane, if you know what I mean. There is one thing after a year that I can't stand about this car, but the good news is at the end of the video I'll give you a solution. So remember, if you're still watching, you should be a subscriber. Please subscribe, like, share, comment below. If you're already a subscriber, hit the notification bell, and always leave a comment below. That really helps me on the algorithm. Obviously, the more subscribers I have, the more cool cars I'll get to review. So I just wanted, the Audi S8 was so depreciated so fast, and the out of warranty repairs were killing me, which I love that car. And you know, tires, 21-inch summer tires, had to get a winter set, wheels, so it was costing me a lot of money to keep that car on the road. So I said, you know what, I just want to, since I have a real estate business, just want to keep that one payment. So what attracted me to BMW, besides this car, or BMWs in general, you got the 3 years free maintenance, so it'd be free maintenance under the entire lease, 4-year, 50,000 mile warranty. Depreciation is obviously in the lease payment, so are all the services. Take one payment and you're done. So that really attracted me to this car. We're going to go on the highway a little bit and test the acceleration. I'll put the radar detector on. The interior is really nice. I think, so this car is a fully loaded car, almost fully loaded, 66,000 was the MSRP. And honestly, the only options I use are the 360 camera, which I think is 100% worth it for parking. Because when you go to low driveways and stuff, let's accelerate here. You can even mark trouble spots. There we go, acceleration. So I've seen 0 to 60 times from the car magazines. BMW says 4.1 seconds to 60 with the all-wheel drive, 4.3 with the rear drive. Now, I haven't seen any rear drive cars here in the Northeast. I'm sure you can certainly order one. And I've seen car magazines, Car and Driver, Motor Trend get about 3.8 seconds. I believe it. I'd say it's somewhere between 3.8 and 4.1. Little stiffer suspension than your typical car, you know, with the M340 The all-wheel drive is great in inclement weather. We had just one big snow. I didn't really get to test it out in the snow. We had one big snowstorm where we got 3 feet of snow over like 2 days. And I didn't go anywhere. I was working from home, so I didn't go anywhere. So I didn't really test it out in that snow. The hard part with the ground clearance would be getting out of your driveway. I think it would be just fine after that. But it's a great car. So I think a must-have option is, I think it was $1,500. This for NASCAR leather. Really makes a big difference. You get a leather dash here, and it looks really, really good and very comfortable. A couple things I wish that it had. I wish there was a cooled seat option. I guess the Audi spoiled me with the cooled seats. So this leather does get hot in the summer, especially like if I have a showing and I'm wearing a suit and a tie, or a suit. I don't wear ties that often, but you know, it gets hot. Like I feel it hot now, and it's only a 70-something degree day in May when I'm filming this. But it's a really fast car. The 8-speed automatic. So the 8-speed automatic is way better as a daily driver around town or in bumper-to-bumper traffic. In a way, I wish it was a dual clutch, because when I do spirited drives, I'd rather have that boom, boom, boom shifts up and down that the dual clutch have, which this doesn't have. So it's probably the best 8-speed ZF automatic I've driven, but I think I would still probably prefer a dual clutch. But again, you know, with COVID hit, when I bought this car, the factories were shut down. It was hard to even find one that I could buy. There were so few M340s. They probably sell 90% of the cars they're selling are 330s. So it's really hard at that time anyway to find an M340. And, you know, otherwise I think it's a great car. It's super fast. I love this engine, the B58 engine. The brakes are really good. Where it falls short is this car is not an M3. So I compare a lot of stuff to my E90 M3, and this is way faster than that. I had a 6-speed manual E90 M3. That was my real estate car because it was 4 doors. I had 2 kids in the back with baby seats, and I would autocross or track it on the weekends. And you had to upgrade the brakes and stuff to do track days, of course. But that car really could do everything. So the downfall of this car is, I think you could do all those things I mentioned, but the track days or the autocross. Could you do it? Yeah, but I don't think the brakes will hold up, because if you follow the channel, I've done a lot of spirited drives where I do the point of view camera, and I smell the brakes. So the brakes never faded. I could do all the hard braking I wanted, but you could really smell them. So it really wouldn't be a good track day car, and it's, you know, kind of on the heavy side. You know, these cars are the same size as the E39 M5, so the 3 Series has really morphed into a 5 Series size. So it definitely feels a size bigger to me than the other cars I've had, the M2, the 1M, and the E90 M3, the E46 M3. It's definitely a size bigger, and you can definitely feel that. So running costs have been 0. It's going to be due for its first service soon. I've put so little miles on it, so they do, I think, a low mileage service. And that's really it. Tire wear seems pretty good, even though I've driven spiritedly and aggressively. Gas mileage is fantastic. I bet you I get about 30 miles to the gallon on the highway. My average mileage, and I probably do more highway than around town, I probably average 25, 26, and I had a Mini Cooper, which was probably the best average I ever had, and was in that range, and the GLA 45 was in that range as well. My E90 M3, for comparison, I did mostly highway, and I averaged 17 miles per gallon no matter how I drove that car. So gas mileage is much improved. Who cares about gas mileage? The stereo is pretty good, the optional stereo. I think it's worth paying for that, but it's nowhere near as good as, say, a luxury car like in a Mercedes or an Audi. The Bang & Olufsen I have in the S8 was 10 times better than this, but this is a lot better than it was in my E90 M3. So now we'll get off the highway here. The brakes are excellent, again, as long as you're not tracking the car. Comfortable ride, big enough back seat, huge trunk. I'd love to see a manual option, but I guess you can get that with the new M3. So the new M3, I don't really like the grills, but I've seen new M3s, the rear drive manual transmission version, for like $77,000, and this car was $66,000. For $11,000 more, I think I should have waited a year and got a manual rear drive M3. That probably would have been my best choice, but I have this. They have a lease for 3 years. Will I buy it out of the lease? At this point, I would say no. I kind of bought this car because I wanted to have all the payments, so if I bought it out, and I've done that with lease cars before, then you get into tires and brakes and other expenses, maintenance that's not covered, and then you probably just should have rolled that into a new lease. So I probably won't keep this beyond the lease. I really love this Portimao blue. It's a fantastic color. And what's great about this car, and like the M440, is the M440, they made the big grills. They didn't make the big grills on this car, and I wonder why. So the new M3 and M4 both have the big grills. The M440 have the big grills, but the only one that doesn't have the big grills is the M340i XDrive or the 330. So if you don't like the big grills, definitely get one of these cars. Problem solved. Reliability's been perfect. It's been back to the dealer for nothing. Everything works 100%. It still looks brand new. The paint looks great. Again, not much wear from the tires or the brakes. But the one thing I hate about this car, and what I would have changed if I had to do it all over again, is the run flat all-season tires. The all-season tires don't have anywhere near the grip of summer tires, but obviously I wanted to pay one payment and I didn't want to go through the minutia, which I kind of regret now. And there's an easy way to solve it. And when you hit a pothole in a run flat tire, it sounds like a hammer hitting that pothole. I mean, it's definitely a much rougher ride with the run flat tires because they're such a hard tire. And then when you hit a pothole, it's always like bam. But to its credit, I've never got a flat tire, a bent rim, or a bubble, which I got constantly in the Audi S8. The Audi S8, I was going through tires, bent wheels. So this doesn't have that problem at all. So in a way, the run flats are saving you. And in the Northeast here, there's just so many potholes, especially when it rains, you can't tell where the pothole is and how deep it is. So it saved me quite a few times where I could have sworn that I would get wheel damage or a bubble in the tire, and I did not. But if I had to do it all over again, I would have ordered this car with summer tires. I had a friend that did that because here in the Northeast, they stock them all-wheel drive, which I think I would get because my daily drive, I should have one all-wheel drive car with how bad the weather is. And, but I should have, if I ordered it, I would have optioned the summer tires and then got a set of winters. So that would have given me the grip I want in the summer for spirited drives. Then it becomes more of a car like an M3 that can do everything. And I just drove an M440 at a BMW autocross event, and that had summer tires. It had, I believe, the 4S, and it was phenomenal difference in handling because it didn't have these stupid all-season tires. And the all-season tires are so skinny too. If you got the summer tires, they'd be wider and definitely more grip. So that's the one thing, that's really my only regret on this car. I wish it was a little more visceral like an M3 or M4. I'm not even going to say manual transmission because I know they don't make manual transmission, but maybe a dual clutch would be a little sportier, though the 8-speed automatic is better in traffic. But I just wish I had ordered it and went for the summer tires and put a set of winter tires on, and then I think you really have the perfect car. All right, guys, so let me know what you think in the comments. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll be back with another update on this car soon. Thanks again for watching. Take care.